Whew, new year, new me. But luckily it's only December 31st. It's only New Year's Eve, so I can still be a belligerent asshole. For the YouTube people, this is just water. All right, it's New Year's Eve, so bring on the wave of people listing last year's failures and this year's plans that mostly are going to look very, very similar to their last year's plans that they failed or didn't even attempt. Now, I'm not trying to be a dick to everybody who sets out New Year's resolutions. I think it was 2 years ago that I was like, no more New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna have goals for things that I'd like to aim for in the new year, which I guess is kind of similar to resolutions, but it's just stuff that I'm already doing. I just either want to do more of it or do some of it better. So for example, right now I'm in a very I'm in a turmoil point of my life where I'm kind of getting new job opportunities, but it's not quite solidified enough for me to drop my regular job. So I'm basically trying to juggle 2 jobs while streaming daily and trying to upload to this channel 3 to 4 times a week. So it's basically trying to keep that all in check and then remembering that I have a second channel that is totally dedicated to movies and I love movies and I just haven't uploaded there since October. So it's just, I would like to get back to that. That's not necessarily a resolution, that is just more of I literally have no more time. Luckily, one of my jobs affords me a lot of time to do some other stuff, but making videos is not one of those things. So yeah, essentially, there's nothing wrong with having goals. I think goals are great, and I think that if you can keep yourself accountable to having goals, that's an awesome thing. But I find that the concept of New Year's resolutions falls dangerously into that zone of motivation. And I have an entire video about how motivation as a concept is bullshit and it's not gonna get you anywheres. And very similar to that, New Year's resolutions tend to fall into the same kind of idea of people thinking they've accomplished something just by making a statement out loud or writing something down. Until you've actually done it, you haven't accomplished anything. So it's for example, New Year's, big thing, fitness. Everybody wants to get fit. This is something that I see constantly. New Year's comes around, everybody suddenly wants to get in shape. You might get people coming for the first 2 weeks, then you never see them again. And it's for a couple of reasons. For one, maybe they really didn't want to make those changes, but largely it's because they just didn't create the foundation to keep themselves going and to keep themselves accountable. Sometimes they literally only make it into the gym for the first time. They make it for the first trip, and then they just never come back. And I'm sure a lot of them felt very fulfilled at the beginning of the year when they were like, January 1st, I'm going to the gym. I just got all this nice new workout clothing. I got new protein powder. I got some pre-workouts. I've got all this stuff ready. I've got all this amazing healthy food that I'm gonna eat. And then just because they've made those first preliminary steps, their brain gets that positive reaction that you've done something, that positive reinforcement that you've actually made some kind of change. But it turns out you're just as lazy this year as you were last year, because creating a resolution and stating it out loud does not instantly transfer into actually doing that thing. Any kind of goal, any kind of thing you want to achieve takes planning, it takes dedication, and it takes commitment. You can't just verbalize it out loud. Well, yeah, saying it out loud to other people can help with accountability if you have the kind of friends that are gonna be like, hey, Susan, weren't you supposed to be going to the gym? My 98-year-old grandmother's having an easier time getting up the stairs than you are right now. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have those kinds of friends, so you're just gonna go through your pat yourself in the back loop, where you just continuously make up new excuses about how you're busy, about how life gets in the way. And while those can be valid excuses, if you really want it, you'll find the time. You'll find the time to do it, you'll make it work. And if it's not in the gym, it can be through activities with your family, it can be through yoga at home, it can be any little thing. If you want to do it, you'll do it. And if you don't want to do it, it'll fall by the wayside. And that's why so many people have the same resolutions year in, year out, and never make any moves towards them. And then you get the people who think they have to wait until New Year's to make any changes. I had people being like, well, I want to read more books next year. And I'm like, okay, why don't you start right now? I randomly decide, hey, you know what? I haven't been reading as much as I used to, and I love reading. And, I think I'm just gonna, instead of being on my phone before bed, or first thing in the morning, I'm going to read a book instead. And then, wow, suddenly I'm reading tons of books. Sometimes I was reading 2 books a week when I was really, really into it. I've slowed down, which is good for my bank account, but I'm still reading regularly and I'm feeling really good for it. But you get all these people no, I'm just gonna wait for the new year, just gonna, you know, it's fine. I'm just gonna wait and just start fresh in the new year. It's like January 1st is like, I get it. It's like it's signifying a new year, but it's really just another day of your life. And there's no reason why you couldn't just start reading a book right now. Like today, is there a book in your collection that you've been meaning to read? Instead of going on your phone for that 30 to 40 minutes before you actually fall asleep at night, just read your book. But there's no reason to wait for the new year to do that. The same as there's no reason to wait until the new year to start working out. I get it. Some people are like, oh, really, it's like Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas. But like, there's really just no reason why you couldn't be working out in between all that. Just because you have Christmas and maybe eat a little bit more than usual, that doesn't completely negate the work you've done in the gym. Like, yeah, if you're just going based on like a weight standpoint, yeah, you might gain some of that weight back. But just getting your cardiovascular system, your muscular system actually working is worth it for that extra couple months instead of just being like, oh, you know, I'll start January 1st. Guess what? You won't. You're just gonna be owing a gym a bunch of money. You don't need an excuse to do better. You don't need a date to start doing something you wanna do more of. And that's what it really comes down to. If it's something that you genuinely wanna do, if it's something that you genuinely wanna make time for, you will. Sometimes it's gonna be hard. Sometimes you're just gonna feel like there's no time in the day, but you would be surprised at the amount of time you can milk from a day when you're trying to do more things and you're trying to stay just more productive or even making more time for things you love. You don't have to make every New Year's goal or resolution something that involves, you know, more work or bettering yourself in some way. Like reading books is super enjoyable. Hell, I'm trying to watch a shit ton of movies next year. I just, like, sometime in November, I was like, damn, I've only watched 54 movies this year. I want to try to hit 100. And I hit 130. And for some of you, that might be like, okay, so you stop being productive and just start watching a bunch of movies. It's like, I still got a lot of work done. I just squeezed movies into places where I wouldn't normally do so. Like at 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, basically nothing wrong with people setting out goals and things they want to achieve and if they want to get better, but like, please don't be that person who's like, new year, new me. And then in 1 week, it's just kind of this huge joke that you're still just the same non-acting individual that you were last year. Please do not fall victim of just the concept of just because you laid out the goals and you said them out loud, you told people about them, don't let your brain think of that as an accomplishment. Because it's not. You didn't do anything. This is something I was talking about the other day about a bunch of people being like, oh, I wish I could stream, or I wish I would make videos, but you know, I can't afford a camera, or I had to save a bunch of money to get the camera, and now I just need the video to be perfect, and you know, I don't know what I want to do, and if it's not perfect, then I want to upload it. And it's like, do you know what the difference between you, the person who spent a bunch of money saving up for a camera, and I say that as somebody who has a nice camera, but I worked towards getting this nice camera. I made all my original videos with this like really old Sony Handycam that my parents had. And then I worked up to this. You don't need to start with this because you know what the difference between you, the person who insisted on having to save up all this money for a camera, who still isn't doing anything with that camera, and the person with the cell phone recording videos? Person with the cell phone probably actually uploaded the videos and his name is probably Gus Johnson. So yeah, not trying to be a dick, just saying, don't fall victim to the new year, new me. Just set yourself with realistic goals and steps. Don't try to jump 100% into anything and everything that you're doing. Start with one thing. If you want to go to the gym, get your membership, go a couple times a week, then start working on the diet and really try to figure out what your goals are in the gym. Even if you're just getting in there, going on the treadmill, doing a little circuit of the weight machines, that is totally fine. Once you get a feel for that, that's when you can start being like, you know what, I want to focus a little bit more on this. I want to be a little bit more selective in this kind of weight training, or I want to focus more on cardio. Then you can start bringing the diet in. If you try to do everything immediately right out the gate, you will burn out and you are setting yourself up for failure. For example, if you're like, oh, well, I want to make YouTube videos and stream. Start with one or start with streaming and then edit up highlights and make that your YouTube content. Because then you're not trying to juggle too many things right off the bat and then you can add in more things as you go. Too many people try to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the gym. I need to upload more videos. I want to read more books. I want to watch more movies. I want to spend more time with friends. So you set up all of these things that you want to do. And if you actually try to do them all right out the gate, you are going to burn yourself out. And then eventually you'll probably just stop doing them and just go back to whatever negative time wasting habit that you normally do. I'm not saying that, wasting time is always useless. You can, it's important to like recharge and just do nothing sometimes. But if you're actively trying to just do more with your time and change habits, you have to start small and then build bigger, because if you just try to jump in full force, you're not gonna make the proper changes and set the proper groundwork. So I hope you guys all had a fantastic year. If you didn't achieve some of the goals you set out last year, don't take it so hard. Just think about it constructively. Think, okay, what did I do that I could have done better? What didn't I do? What can I do to make this different next year? Take it as a learning opportunity and just go forward smart. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you all so much for getting me to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. When I hit 14K, I think on Sunday of last week, I was like, okay, cool, this is awesome. We're gonna close out at 14K. That is really awesome. I really didn't think I was gonna hit 15K, but we somehow managed to get 1,000 new subscribers in a week, which is amazing. And I just wanna thank you guys all so much for the continued support. If you're kind of like into just my thoughts and ramblings, I got Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that kind of stuff down below. Discord, feel free to follow it. Everything's Amanda the Jedi. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic new year. Enjoy the time with friends and families, and we'll catch you all later. Also, this is a public request. Please tell your grandparents to stop making the "see you next year" joke. Please, for the love of all that is good in the world, ask them to stop.